So does everyone who sets out to be an entrepreneur become successful building the business that they've always dreamed of? We all know that's not true. And of course they don't. Now I can't tell you exactly why some businesses flourish and other businesses don't. But what I can tell you after working with some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the industry, one thing that they all have in common: they read books. Entrepreneurs take in as much information as they possibly can from other successful entrepreneurs, and they do it in different industries. So the more that they can learn from business people that are successful in a completely different area, they can then take that information and apply it in their own businesses and their own industries. The easiest way to do that is through books. Books are one of the biggest and best ways that you can invest in yourself and your growth of your business. If you are not reading and you're not as successful as you'd like to be, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Reading books is one of the best ways to increase the growth of your business. So let's talk about writing those books, because theoretically, you want to be one of those authors that all of the successful entrepreneurs want to read, right? So I want to share with you 3 different kinds of business books that you can write and when you might want to use one type over another type. The first one is prescriptive nonfiction. Prescriptive nonfiction is just a how-to book. It's teaching someone how to do something. It's an educational book. It's something that you might write to help people take, the 5 steps to building a business, or 3 steps to easy weight loss, or whatever your sequential set of steps is. Maybe it's how to build a house. Maybe it's how to find the greatest babysitter for your kids. Whatever it is that you're teaching them how to do, it's a prescription. It's a prescriptive book, meaning you're teaching them how to do it. We've said over and over again that books need to inspire, educate, and sell. So you want to make sure that you're not only educating in this book, you want to make sure that you're also inspiring them and helping them see that they can do what you're teaching them, and they have it in them, they can do it. You also want to show them how to do it, and you also want to offer them additional resources and support and ways that they can actually make sure that they do it, right? Because you got to have all 3 of those elements: inspire, educate, and sell. The second kind of business book that's very popular is a business memoir. This is a fantastic kind of book for people who are very experienced in their business. Maybe you're a CEO and you've been running in the same industry for 40, 50, even 60 years, and you have some amazing lessons to teach people in the industry or even outside of the industry. Or maybe you have a special way of running your teams, or maybe you just have a unique philosophy on business that you'd like to share with people. I'm sure you have tons of amazing stories from all of your experience over the years, and you just want to share all of that information. You want to create a legacy for yourself where everything that you have built up and all the knowledge and experience that you've collected over the years is collected into something that can be given away long after you're gone. That's a really popular type of book to read as well, because it's a way of tapping into something that may have gone away. If you're reading a business memoir from somebody who maybe passed away 10 years ago, that person is gone, but their legacy is not gone. Their legacy is still there. Their company may still be there. If you're interested in building a business that survives long after you do, having a business memoir is a really great way to make sure that your experience and your expertise and all of the heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears that you've put into your business actually survives beyond yourself. And actually that still collects clients and customers, and people are still interested in your business, in your company that you've built, because you've left behind this legacy. So a memoir is a wonderful way, and they're really fun to read, especially if they're entertaining. With the more stories that you can include in a memoir, the better. One of the big mistakes that business people make when they're writing a memoir, though, is that they're trying to tell their whole life story. They're trying to tell, when I was 2 years old, I decided I was going to run a company, and then they just tell every single story of their entire life. A business memoir is not about the author necessarily. It is about the author, but it's more about the lessons that the author wants to show you through the stories that are included in the book. And you don't need to tell every detail about your entire life in this book. You simply want to prove a point. So if you have 10 principles of successful entrepreneurship and you really want to make sure that you have all 10 of them, you're going to tell stories that only apply to those particular principles. You don't need to tell the story about your Aunt Gladys when you were 17. You don't have to tell everything. So make sure that if you are writing a business memoir, you realize that this is going to survive hopefully much longer than you, and make sure that you are including those inspire, educate, and sell elements inside of that book, even though it's a memoir. Most people wouldn't think of, like, why am I going to sell in a memoir? Well, there's special ways to do it. So make sure you include all of those. The third kind of business book is something that's a little bit special. It's near and dear to my heart because one of my favorite business books is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. And a parable is a fable. It's a fictional book that teaches certain principles. And there's lots of wonderful parables out there in the world, especially in business, because we get so entrenched in reading business books that are heavy, and some of them are really dry, and they're just, it's hard to get through them. But when you can tell a really light, entertaining story that teaches deep, deep principles, then you've got a book that people are going to read, and people are going to pass around, and people are going to buy tens and hundreds of copies to give away to their employees, give away to their customers. I've personally bought probably 100 copies of The Go-Giver and given them out to people just because it's a wonderful sales message of how to be a great salesperson. So having a parable book is really fun, and people just love to read them. So how do you write a parable? The best suggestion I can do is go read a lot of them. Read The Go-Giver. There's a whole series of those books. There's another parable that John David Mann wrote with Chef Charles Carroll, I believe is the other author on that book. It's called The Recipe. It's a great book. The Richest Man in Babylon is another wonderful one for entrepreneurs and business people. Lots of great parables out there. The easiest way for you to get a feel for how to write them is to read them. Read. A couple of elements that are included in every parable. There's always someone who's learning the lessons. There's always someone who is teaching the lessons. Sometimes there's more than one person teaching the lessons, but there's a sort of an overall mentor, a parent figure, who is making sure that this person is learning as they go along. And there's always a certain number of lessons that you want to teach. Sometimes there's too many lessons in a business parable, and the message gets lost and muddied. I like to keep them around 3 to 5 lessons. If you have more than that, it can get lost and the book gets a little bit too long. So you've got 3 kinds of business books that are amazing, amazing pieces for your business. You've got prescriptive nonfiction or how-to books. You've got memoir, and you've got parables. If you can include little bits of each one, then you've got something completely unique and awesome. So as an entrepreneur myself, I know the value of information contained in a single book. I love reading books. I read them all the time. And as a profitable business author, I know the power and influence that a book can have for any business, as well as the risks that entrepreneurs make when they decide that publishing a book is not really part of their strategy. Yeah, I don't need a book. If you want more for your business and you want to start attracting clients before you even start writing, I want you to click on the link below for a free copy of my book, The Profitable Business Author, and learn all of those little tricks and techniques starting right now.